Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, for this event as part of the No Code Week. Thank you, Marie and Filip from Tally, for organizing all this, bringing all together this wonderful place. It's really great. We're live on Twitch. This doesn't going to change anything for you, but I just wanted to let you know. For the people who are here, you can look at this camera if you want to talk to the French people who are going to watch. We're going to do everything in English, but that's okay. And to start with, we'd like to ask you a few questions so you can tell us about the story of Tally. And for this, I would like to bring Joyce from WeWave.
I kind of want to sing. Is it okay if I do share? All right, cool. Well, it's great to meet you. We met like 5 minutes ago, and I actually really love your product. And I'm excited to like share this moment with you so you can tell us more about it. So maybe you can start by telling us like how you got your idea, how you got started, and maybe give us a little bit of context on what you were doing before.
Sure. First of all, really nice to meet all of you. Thank you for joining us. It's a bit crowded. There's a few more seats in the front if you want. Closer. This is better. Okay. So yeah, we'll do a short Q&A and then we will give the stage to the real experts, but I'll say a bit more about that later on. So yeah, my name is Marie, this is Filip. We're co-founders of Tally. How did we came up with it, or I have a background in marketing. Filip is a full stack engineer, has founded some other startups before. We met in Belgium around 5 years ago. We are co-founders, but also partners in life. And we kind of always had like the dream to become digital nomads and like everyone travel and enjoy the good weather and work at the same time.
In Barcelona, for example.
For example, unfortunately, it didn't really happen for us. We had this plan in 2020 with our first startup, which was a startup in travel tech. Little did we know that 2020 was going to be the worst year ever to start something in travel. We like rented out our apartment. We flew to Bangkok, and then we had to come back after 1 week because of COVID. And then we basically lost all our clients, and we had to pivot, do something else because we gave ourselves like 1 year to try out this whole startup adventure. And that's kind of how we came up with Tally. I had used some form builders in my previous jobs. Filip had ones built, but maybe I will let you tell this.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, how did we start it? It was like indeed we were like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Like this whole hotel startup didn't work out, and we looked into form builders and we've used a lot of them before, and it was like always not a fun experience. It's kind of like the task that you have that you sort of hate to do. It's because it's boring. It's not fun, right? And we're like looking at Notion as well at the time, which we love to use, and it was like Notion made note-taking fun, right? Like note-taking was also sort of a boring thing to do. Like you go to Confluence or whatever and you hate your life, and then all of a sudden Notion came and made it fun, right? So it was like, can we make forms fun as well? So that's how we started. I was like, okay, it should be work like a text editor. You start with a blank screen, and you can easily start adding different components. Very similar to Notion. And actually in 2014, I built like this tool also called Tally. It was like a weekend project, but it was a tool to create a pose. So you ended up on a white screen with a blinking cursor, and you can start writing your question and then the options. Very similar to how you create a multiple choice question now on Tally. So I've already built something like that. I was like, we could actually take that and build it into a full-blown form builder product. And we kind of like the name, so we reused it. I was like, okay, Tally was born.
Very cool. And what was like, I'm sure as part of like, with no coders, there are a lot of agencies. There are lots also of makers who maybe like you have that digital nomad dream. What would you say were your challenges when you first started? I mean, I know there was COVID, but then when you actually started Tally, what would you say were some of the challenges as like entrepreneurs?
A lot. I guess first of all, for us, this was like a whole new industry. Like the whole no-code scene is not really, still not very big in Belgium where we live. Luckily, we met the people from No Code France who actually gave us a lot of feedback from very early on and also started promoting Tally and sharing it. So that definitely helped us a lot. But I guess like building our network and finding our first users was kind of the biggest challenge. Also, like pinpointing what we were actually going to build. Like the first version of Tally was, the MVP was very simple. Like you couldn't even publish the form, you could just type. And in the beginning, we thought like just a form builder, it won't do it. We need to build something very complicated, like databases and CRMs connected. But then when we actually started building, realized that was we were never gonna make that. So we just tried to keep it simple. And I guess one of the challenges is as well, like as we add more features, the tool becomes more complex, but we still want to keep it really easy to use and simple, which is like the biggest challenge for us product-wise. Yeah.
And so how do you overcome that challenge? Is it like through user feedback? How do you handle that?
Yeah, and definitely just try to whatever we build to be as self-explanatory as possible. So first of course look at it ourselves and are we happy with it, and then show it to the users and then increment on it if necessary. And we have now through these 2.5 years built some community on Slack and Twitter, so we do get a lot of feedback, which helps us a lot to pinpoint where we did things wrong and what can we improve. So that's how we.
And actually, I'm a huge admirer because I mean, your product is so complete and very user friendly, and you're a very small team. I was wondering how, is it a choice? A lot of startups have that big ambition of raising money, and then they hire lots of people, and then they fire them. So, is it a choice for you to stay bootstrapped?
Yeah, it is. It's something we doubted a lot. So it hasn't been like an easy choice, especially after like our first product had launched. We got a lot of interest from investors, and we started doubting like, is it like unambitious to stay bootstrapped? I guess we kind of decided that this is like the life that we want for us and our family, and we like to stay independent and grow like sustainably, and also keep the team small. Like we really enjoy working on the product more than I would say managing people. So that's kind of part of the decision. I think keeping it bootstrapped also helps us to set priorities and make difficult choices. So yeah, that kind of does it for us. Now the team is very small, but we do need to grow a bit because the user base is growing and we're getting new challenges. We have 100,000 people using Tally now worldwide. So we're now a team of 4, me, Filip, and then one Ahmed, one other engineer, and Richard, who's helping us with customer support. But we are hiring, so if anyone would be interested, we're looking for more people to join on customer support and engineering in the coming months. Yeah, but still planning to keep the team small, relatively small.
And you're fully remote.
Yeah.
I would like to turn to the audience and see if anyone has a question. We have only one mic, so you'll need to kind of do really professionally and come over here and take the mic so we can move it back, get it back to Marie or Filip. Does anyone have questions for them? Cool.
At the moment, in total, how many are you?
So we're four people.
4 people. Okay. Congrats on that. I would like to know how did you manage to get the product market fit at first? That was something that was hard to get.
Yeah. Um, I guess we started we got our first users through cold outreach. So we would literally send DMs to thousands of people and asking for feedback. We would go on product hunt and see who has uploaded similar products, and then we would try to find their contact details. And luckily, a lot of people replied to us and gave us quite positive feedback about the product. So that was kind of a first validation. And then when we had our first 1,000 users, just by doing that over and over again, we launched on Product Hunt because that seemed like a good audience for our product. And then we doubled our user base in one day, got a lot of feedback, got a lot of new people in our Slack group, so that kind of validated the idea that there was there was place for another form builder in the market. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how we realized that we have product market fit, depending on what that actually means. We actually also did a real product market fit survey, which also with our users, asking would you how bad would it be if Tally doesn't exist anymore? And we had a pretty good score there. So yeah, that's kind of how we realized. Plus we didn't have a paid plan, and we had someone that wanted to pay for the product, but we didn't have Stripe yet. So we thought, okay, we must be onto something.
Awesome. I actually had another question and it just escaped my mind. Does someone else in the audience have a?
We're here afterwards.
Yeah.
No, that's
Thank you.
My question.
Thank you, and it's an amazing story to hear. I was just very curious. What do you think of Typeform?
Yeah, I mean, we love actually Typeform. I think it's a really good product. And I mean, yeah, what I think happened is that over time, they just made their pricing a lot less attractive for startups and solopreneurs and stuff like that, which opens more space for small players like ourselves. But I think we don't hate them or something. I still think that what they do it's amazing.
And actually, it reminds me of my question, which was what do you think makes you stand out from the competition? And I'm sure I know for a fact it's not just pricing. What would you say are your big strength?
Yeah, I mean, pricing is definitely one of them because we have a bit of a different business model. We don't have volume-based pricing. We just offer unlimited forms and submissions for free. So that's definitely a big one. But then I guess our interface is also different. People love to use Tally because it's easy to use. It's this text editor-based kind of interface where you can just start typing using shortcuts. That's also why we have a big overlap with Notion users because the interface is similar. So I think just the user experience and the fact that we are very heavily committed on offering really good customer support, which is something that requires a lot of time, but that really helps us to connect with the users, know what we need to build next. And that's something that usually kind of stops with bigger companies. You send an email and then you get an email back in 2 weeks. That doesn't happen for us, and that's something we often are praised for.
So. Cool. Does anyone have a last question?
Yeah, thanks for the talk. I was thinking, how do you manage, because you guys it seems like you're really good at distribution and marketing. We see you everywhere. And I was thinking, how do you manage to do this with such a small and lean team as product? And because that's actually really hard to do. So, yeah.
Thank you. I would say it's mainly product-led growth. The product is free, and the product itself is our biggest marketing channel. By making Tally free, all our free users have a Made with Tally badge on the form, and because forms are viral by its nature, they're meant to share with other people. More people see our brand and get to know us and start using Tally. So that's definitely the biggest like growth engine that we have. Besides that, I think that the community is growing, and by offering good customer support, we have a lot of users that turn into promoters and that help spread the word. We don't do any like paid advertising yet, so it's mainly organic growth, but then driven by the product itself. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much. We're gonna, of course, you're available for other questions after we're gonna move on to other talks. And I know you did a podcast episode with Alexis actually, which was, if you want to find out more in depth about this story, I can only recommend it. And thank you so much. I'll let you present maybe the rest of the speakers.
All right. Thank you.